This is the nightmare of making tallow that I hate. You're given a big block bag that's frozen like this, and it takes forever to break into small cubes to put into the crock pot. Or it comes in this form, and there's all kinds of, there's meat on it, on the fat, there is bones in here, and I always get depressed and despondent, like, no, don't say I have to sit there for hours and chop this stuff up. And I'm given 30 pounds of it. It is daunting to be told to cut it up into small 1-inch cubes. Like, I'm never gonna do that again, and I don't want you to ever do that, ever. If you haven't even tried, don't try it. So number one, I have a 2 crock pot system, and I have an assembly line that I work. And although it's taken me 4 days to render approximately 35 to 40 pounds of tallow, or beef fat, into tallow, there wasn't a lot of hands-on time because I'm letting time and heat do everything for me, and the refrigeration as well. So I'm going to show you this process. This is what I do. I take the bag, I've thawed it out in the refrigerator, but it doesn't matter, you don't have to. And I just dump them in. All these big chunks of bone. So I just throw them in. I don't have to worry about doling a knife on cutting into bone that I can't quite see. I don't have to waste anything. Okay. So just dump the whole wad. And I just pile it in. Just bam. Whoa. Oh. Ugh, dropped it on the ground. Rinse that off. I'm trying to do this with holding this camera. So look at this. This is like probably totally sacrilegious. Like, you can't do it that way. It's not going to cook down properly or whatever. But it certainly does, and I could not be more happy. So look, it's like you're super busy, you got a world of things to do, and all you need to do, this is the beginning, okay? Just like that. Doesn't even close all the way, okay? Then I fill up probably a pint worth, couple, okay, of water, pour it over, and I turn it on low. And I walk away until tomorrow morning, okay? Then, when it is all hot and gooey and oily and the bones have separated beautifully, I walk it over to this pot. This is my catch-all for my fat, okay? Look how much. Woo, it looks great. And notice, I have these beautiful pieces of bone that I did not have to deal with. I didn't have to cut. I didn't have to lose any of it, any of the fat, because it's attached to this, and I don't want to spend hours doing that. I've got little chunks of bone, so I can now feel through this, and I can discard the bones, get them out of the way, and now I'm going to fish through this. This is still pretty hot, so I'm going to wait for this to cool down. Okay. So then, when I wait for it to cool down and drip all the tallow into the pot, then I move over here. This is what I took out this morning. Okay. So it's cooling down. I have to feel around in it for any bone because I don't want to run them through the grinder. But I'm going to run them through this. Okay, as you can see, I added an additional board here, and I put it on with a clamp because my grinder, my hand crank grinder, cannot fit on the width of my workbench in the kitchen on my table. So I rigged this up. I've got a nice big platform. I also put, you can see I put this underneath because there's a little bit of fat that will get on the floor, and it just makes it easy to clean up. Okay, now we're dumping the rest. It's a lot of work, but boy, it's a lot more work the other way, and I'm just so relieved. that I discovered this. Maybe there are other bloggers out that have too, and that's awesome. I haven't seen it yet. Again, I started on high, and then when I see that it's at a nice rolling boil, I turn it on low. Okay, it's the last round. So it's the next morning, and you can see that the fat here that was ground down in the grinder is completely turned to cracklings, and it's ready to be transferred. I just started transferring it here, so I will do that. And then this one, remember I piled it high and the top was not able to close all the way. Close down. It's nicely bubbling. And now I'm going to transfer this also to the pot over here after I finish the cracklings. Now the cracklings have drained. And I'm going to transfer this to the compost. And now I'll transfer this. Remember, these were just put in directly right out of the bag. So this will drain and cool. I can already feel a lot of bones in there. This is the first round. This is what it looks like. You can see the impurities on top. So the goal is to get the tallow so clear and so shelf stable that it's not going to mold. There'll be no bacteria or rot that happens while it's on the shelf, because water is an enemy when you're trying to preserve food. You need to get it out, of course, unless you're freezing things, and then it doesn't matter. Now when I am handling this pot, I'm grabbing it like this. I'm not going to go like this and then try to dump it. I'm grabbing it like this so I have more leverage, and it's not going to bind me up at my wrists and then cause a problem as I'm trying to dump it over, okay? You just have more stability, more strength when you're doing this. So I have a lot of fat that I am rendering, so I have to do this in batches because I don't have pots that are big enough. I don't have refrigerator space that's big enough. If it was cold, if I was doing this in the winter, then I could just put this outside, cover it with muslin or whatever, just to keep critters out of it. But what I did, I boiled the fat for roughly 5 to 10 minutes, let it cool, and then I transferred it here. I'm going to let it cool here, and then I'm going to transfer it to the refrigerator. So this was the oil that I put in the bowl and in the fridge to cool down. So I'm going to take this out because we have to scrape off the impurities that have fallen to the bottom. I put it in a metal bowl and I put it over the flame. I let it go just for a little bit. I watch it and I can tell when the heat has transferred, and then I can slip this out and I will put it on a cookie sheet and turn it upside down and then scrape off the bottom. So the heat was on for no more than about a minute, and now watch how it rocks. This whole bit of fat has been released, and now I'm going to be pulling it out and scraping off the bottom, and you can see even all the impurities that are now floating to the top. So I flipped it on its side, and you can see, look at this mass ball of gelatin. This is actually very precious to me. I'm going to put this in meat stock. I'll make a stew with this because this is very tasty, very good for you. This is the gelatin collagen that we all prize so much. So I'm going to be taking that off, and then I'll be scraping off the remainder of this. You can see all these impurities here as well. There's a lot of liquid on the bottom here. This is gelatin, water. This is where I put the leftover, the gelatin, and some of the liquid that I'm going to be using for stock, and I will freeze that and use it when I need it. Okay. So this is a pie tin, but you can put them on cookie sheets. The fat is now at a rolling boil, and of course my stovetop won't go any lower than this because I believe that's how they're making appliances now, to be kind of dysfunctional. So the flame is way too high. I would turn it down a little bit if I could. So notice I was just scraping off impurities. So there was quite a bit of foam, and I just took my spoon and I took it off. So I'm going to let this go for a little bit, let it stir itself and roll around and see what might come to the top and to the bottom. And then I'll pour it back into my metal bowl and put it and allow it to cool and put it back in the refrigerator for tomorrow morning to do this same process, but without the water. I'll just heat it up, let it boil, and wait for all of the water to be evaporated, and then I will put it in mason jars. This is the tallow that I have been washing for days, and it's gotten very quiet. Earlier it was popping and snapping and crackling and exploding, and that's because there was water in it. But now it is quiet, there is no more water in it, and it is ready to be poured into mason jars. So this is the end result of finally purifying the tallow. So here we go. This is everything I've been laboring for 4 days right there. It's gorgeous. Normally people like to put them in smaller jars, but I'm doing it in a larger jar because this is going to be for soap and I need 106 ounces. So I will be melting these down in a double boiler when it's time and preparing the oil for the soap. But you can strain it right through here as well. And I actually want to see if there are any impurities on the cheesecloth, or see how pure I was able to get it. And I would say that's pretty good. That looks nice. There's only a few little flecks. You can see that. Not much there. I will wad this up. I will put this in a dish of hot water and soap, maybe add a little baking soda, which is also alkaline, that will cut the grease for this. I have found that if I put the top on while it's hot, it seals itself. You'll hear it pop. Because I'm going to be melting the fat off of these dishes in a very low heat, I'm not worried if there's a little bit of wood on them. I'm not worried for it to burn or anything. So I'll probably do it for starters. Let's start at 200 degrees. Let's see here. If I have a dish like this, I'm not going to put it in this way. I'm going to put it in this way so that the oil will drain off. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. It is substantially better. It's hot, so be careful, but so much of the greasy grime is now here. Lots of it is now here. So that saves me a lot of work as well. Handle it the best you can, but I would say wait till it's cool, paper towel off some of the grease, and then you can put this in hot soapy water and it'll clean up a lot easier. This is Jessica, Skilled Womanhood. Get sane, get smart, and get skills. See you next time. Bye-bye.